Hey, welcome back to Tuesday with Guys Trade Stocks. I am Dylan.
And I'm Vinny.
And I told you guys last week on Monday that FRC is probably the next bank to shut down. And as right now, as we're filming, they are sending in the bids. This company's screwed. We're going to take a quick look at it.
Tuesday with Guys Trade Stocks.
So, I think it was Monday of last week. I had said, look, this company's screwed. This is next. I showed Burry's tweet as to why. Once again, this doesn't even look that bad because there's so much losses on one thing that you got to zoom in to the 60-minute chart. But we went from 120 to $3. Here is the 60-minute chart this last week of FRC. All right. $15 down to $230 something. I just want to direct you to this red circle here. This is after market close on Friday. We were chilling at 350. This is called institutional dumping for whatever institution was left. All right. Whoever still thought whatever, there's some idiot hedge fund somewhere that still thought this was going to go well. 350 all the way down to a little bit above 150 in a matter of 30 minutes and then back up to 230.
Wow. Hey, the one positive thing though, Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like there's some pretty solid support at zero.
There's some pretty solid support at zero. That's fair. So what's going on, right? So we're filming this. It's April 30th on a Sunday. They are asking for U.S. regulators have asked banks for final bids by this afternoon. As of right now, JP Morgan and PNC are the front runners. However, Bank of America, it's technically also in the running. Once a winning bid is determined, the FRC would be seized in receivership and immediately sold to the winning bank. Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, and Citibank are like, nah, I don't want to touch this. Seems like a bad idea. Wells Fargo, they're having regulatory issues, so that makes sense. JPM, to me, makes the most sense because I believe they already owe them $30 billion. So,
true.
According to their earnings, they already took out a $30 billion loan from them in like the last 3 weeks.
Oh man, it's a wild year when banking regulators are working 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's not good. And you're probably thinking, why are we not tanking right now? Right? Why is this not happening? We have an earnings video coming out tomorrow that actually it's pretty fascinating. It's even more bullish than this. But these are just 5 companies. The middle's the weight on the SPY. And then the right was what's happened since earnings as of Friday. And there's 2 companies that are just destroying. And that would be Microsoft and Meta, making up about 8% of the SPY. Google's also, another 3%. Amazon's about break even. But what happens from here, right? So if you read the press releases, the federal regulators are trying to make this go as swift as possible, so then you have the least amount of systemic risk, in theory, to end this entire regional bank disaster, right? Yeah. So the theory is this is the last one. Now, you look up SIVB, SBNY. This is Burry's tweet from a hell of a long time ago. Right there in the purple, FRC was next. Do we have any more? Is this the last one?
I don't know. This isn't all-encompassing. That's the crappy part, though. Is I forget how many banks are there in the United States. Was it 300 or 3,000? It's like some absolute insanity number. Like I don't know if you caught this, but it was when Signature Bank failed, SBNY. There was actually 3 Signature banks in the United States.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So people with the wrong bank were panicking and crap.
Yeah. It more matters how much they actually hold. Like I talked about PACW last week because I think that it's a solid deal. Still, I think regional banks are about to get hit this week, right? Because FRCs theoretically should be going down this week if all goes to plan.
They won't. If they're doing that today, they will not let them open tomorrow morning and Monday. They will not do that.
It's if they get a winning bid. If they don't, then I don't know what happens.
They will still be in receivership. They just won't be immediately sold. They will still be in
Oh,
receivership.
okay. Yeah, so
They
they
won't
should
let
be.
them open
I
for
mean,
risk of contamination.
they lost 350 to 150 and immediately is, I mean, it's dead. Like, I don't, no wonder they didn't take questions during their earnings call, right?
I mean, I guess they figure there's no point.
Yeah,
That's so
does
crazy.
not work. I talked about PACW a couple times. It really matters how much these banks hold, right? So like PACW, their whole book was 33 billion, if I remember correctly. FRC was 176 billion. That drastically went down.
Yeah.
The thought here is, okay, could you look for deals in stocks? Which are the safest deals, and which stocks do you not want to touch? Theoretically, just from this chart, probably wouldn't touch East West Bank, WAL, or CMA. Probably,
Okay.
I'd probably stay below that. In this
Yeah.
this bottom left corner, this NYCB, CFG, MTB, PNC, and PAC, in my opinion, because it's like right there. Those are the safest ones. They have the least amount of unrealized losses. They have the least amount of deposits that were very, very large and less at risk of being pulled out. So,
Interesting. I don't know how much weight this like chart has anymore because one, it's obviously it's not all encompassing. It has a very small portion of banks.
true.
But also the $250,000 limit thing was
Does not
really
matter.
a concern for bank runs, right? And like the FDIC basically overrode that.
So it still does matter in one aspect, right? Let's say you're a venture capitalist who has 10 billion at a bank, and then you go to withdraw because you're scared. The more over 250,000 deposits you are, the more perceived risk, whether it's perceived versus actual relative risk, right? So like FRC, they have Zuckerberg, well, had, so I mean they're dead, but if he wants to just take out 50 billion, he doesn't have 50 billion. That's a hyperbole, but it's a giant percentage, right? Whereas PACW actually increased in the last like 2 weeks. So,
Yeah. And we just shot our earnings video too, and you saw financials were like the sector with the best revenue performance, basically, year over year, which is wild to think that there's so much failure within that space, despite the fact that they're crushed on the top line.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't understand how these banks can fail and how we're about to break out in a bullish way on the SPY and the Qs. It's the weirdest thing. Doesn't make any sense to me. What are you gonna do?
Dude, I don't even know. It's like eating Taco Bell in the bathroom. It just makes no sense what's going on here.
That actually seems like it does make sense.
I guess that does. Yeah. I don't know. I have to think of better out.
I think you just proved my point. All right,
Yep,
guys.
did. Catch you next
Have
one.
a good one.